Hello and welcome to our webinar today. Appreciate you taking the time out of the a wonderful Wednesday morning, mid-afternoon, whatever time it is here to attend a webinar with us on non-qualified stretch as well as other concepts. Before we get into the main event today, I do want to appreciate those on the call that many of which may be new with us and those that may be checking us out for the first time or just joined us, as well as existing relationships that we've had here at IAMS. We appreciate both opportunities to work with you. Our business would not be what it is without you, just much like your clients. So I want to cover some items here that IAMS specifically has updated, and also to make sure that you're aware of what you have access to with IAMS before we get into our main speaker for the day and start talking about the $68 trillion in transferred wealth that we're all here for today to hear more about, and the tools. So again, thank you for attending the webinar. And let's see if we can get this started. So the first thing off the bat is, if you are new to us, if you are not aware of our new producer builder program, you want to speak with your primary contact here at IAMS or reach out to me directly, Justin Ford. I do work in the annuity team here at IAMS. My name is Justin Ford, if I didn't mention it before. And I also cover asset-based long-term care, and I have worked on our life insurance team as well. So I may have met you through one of those channels, but my primary role here with Steve and IAMS is to work on the annuity and design side. So reach out to me if you do have a question. But when you are new with us here at IAMS, one thing we do recognize is when you first have a new relationship, much like it may be when you onboard a new client, those first 180 days or first month, years in the relationship are very important to making sure that everything goes the way things are expected on both parties' side. And so where as an IMO, we're looking at that as being your first 180 days with us here at IAMS. So what we'd like to do is actually, we have a program set up to incentivize you to write your first piece of business or to get those applications in when you join on board with us here faster rather than later, so that we can work out and go through the entire process of submitting business so you can see our service model and begin to work with us closer here as we move forward. So good thing is, it puts cash in your pocket. So the way this works is, on the number on the board here is annuity premium amount. So during your first 180 days with us at IAMS, if you were to submit cases totaling $100,000 in indexed annuity premium, we're going to give you the option of having cash of $750 that we'll send out your way, or an iPad, or a 1,500-piece postcard mailing to help generate people to see, or a pre-formatted email and marketing analysis and our corporate identity and branding package for your practice. All the way up to the different levels you see on the screen. If you're doing $1 million during that first 180 days with us, it goes further into customized design, videos, 3 consumer-facing brochures, or a preset annuity appointment program for 8 to 10 preset quality annuity appointments, or a dinner seminar with an 8,000-piece mailing drop. Sky's the limit. If you come on board with us and you're already working on something that gets you in front of the clientele that you prefer to be in front of, your ideal market, we can work with you on that too. The point here is we want to make sure we compensate you for additionally for jumping on board with us here at IAMS. And this is in addition to your other commission. As it relates to life insurance, it's a tenth, and we'll get these numbers to you, of target premium. So it'd be a tenth of the annuity. So $100,000 would be the equivalent of $10,000 in target premium, and there's even an enhanced bonus for single premium life. So if you do have interest in making sure that you qualify for that, let us know, and we'll make sure you're on the list. Your primary contact at IAMS can go through the details and get that information out your way. As we are building our business, we, like many of you, much often we operate, our best relationships are met typically by referral, and we do have a referral producer bonus program here, and many of you on the call may be referred producers to us. The way this works is we're going to give you, the person who refers us, a producer that you believe we may be able to partner with and assist, just like yourself, $50 one-time cash bonus for that agent when they license. My team, you get us the name to your primary contact here. We'll reach out, get them appointed with the carrier, and that's a $50 check to you. And then as they continue to join on board with us, as they write business, we're going to pay out of our pocket, not theirs or yours, an additional commission. So every time they write business, their indexed annuity production would be 20 basis points. Life target premium, you can see on the screen, 0.15%. So we're going to pay you for the life of their business and yours as well, just for that referral. So there's no maximum. If you refer 10 people, you're getting that based off of their production going forward into perpetuity as an appreciation. In addition to that, we're going to pay those of you that are with us already. Once you do come on board with us, we have an ongoing marketing reimbursement program to help you allocate money based on your premium. So it's a point system or a dollar system that builds up in an account called your marketing reimbursement account. Every $100,000 in premium, indexed annuity premium, as an example, would get you $100 into this account to be used on any business expense related to marketing or just overall business expenses in your practice. $200 per $100,000 in single premium life, and $200 per $10,000 in life target premium. So that's ongoing and would be available for every party, whether you're new with us or an existing producer writing business as we go forward. And we just take the receipts that you send us and we make sure we get that check right out to you. When you do come on board with us and write your first application, we have a back office support team here, both annuities, life, disability, that process the applications, follow up on your 1035 exchanges. During this time, over the last year or so, we've seen a lot of, and you probably have too, a lot of hold times going through the roof when it comes to carriers, in many cases because of the overwhelming amount of business due to interest rate changes. And a lot of times that means your staff or yourself are holding and waiting for answers. We will do that for you when we take in the business and also get you updates via email. In addition to that, everything from submission of the application all the way through commission payouts, we're here to support you. Case design on the front end, myself and my team handle any design work that you may need. That includes illustrations, advanced tax questions. We do have an attorney and a CPA team here on retainer that we utilize. If we do get into an estate question, as an example, reach out to us from the beginning of your designs or just for the simplest illustration, all the way through commission questions as you get paid from the carriers you write with. That goes for life insurance and long-term care insurance as well. In addition to that, practice development assistance. If you're putting together a exit plan for your business, or you're putting together a transition, or you're looking at putting together a better topping off your marketing plan for the year, we're able to assist you with those things too, as well as everything in your practice relating to building and growing your business. As it relates to our new digital world and submitting business, we are partnered with Firelight. Many of the carriers on the annuity side of the house use electronic applications through our Firelight platform, as you may be familiar. And we use iGo, which is an iPipeline program for the submission of life insurance, which you can take those applications right from our website as well as Firelight. And when it comes to life insurance, you can simply go onto our website if you have a term insurance case, and you can quote that term insurance right from the website and hit a button and apply with your applicant right there, or you can do it ahead of time and have the client sign via email. Real convenient process. In this case, we're looking at reducing not in good order applications. Business that goes through Firelight, as an example, I've had a case recently pay cash, a cash case, pay within 24 hours utilizing Firelight and some of the digital applications. So it can reduce headaches as paperwork increases, and it can also get you paid faster, which is the primary goal. Many of our carriers are already on if they don't have their own e-application program. So if you have a question about which carriers, let us know, and we'd be happy to help you out. When it does come to promoting your practice, back to our corporate branding package I mentioned earlier, we do have a in-house creative marketing team, and that is for access to that team by our producers. And the unique part about this is these are our employees. These individuals work for IAMS. We pay their health benefits. We pay their position. They're not consultants working for a third party. And what they do, they're a team comprised of everything from professional writers all the way through the professional image designers, digital marketing specialists, social media specialists, Facebook, LinkedIn, geofencing, and essentially anything creative from the simplest business logo design or business card all the way through creating a digital fence around a local company in your area that may be letting people go so that every time when they pull up their phone or social media, they see your banner advertisement when they're in that particular digital net. So sky's the limit with our creating marketing solutions team. They are employees of ours, which twofold is a benefit to you. One, if you go to a local advertising team, many of those advertising companies locally may not understand our business, or they may understand it through a different set of eyes. As an example, if you're an insurance-only professional working with the downside or the decumulation side of one's assets, they may have only worked with wirehouses and understand that side of the business. So what ends up happening normally is you end up having a conversation and educating them to help you in the end. However, that information sometimes is their material. So anything they create may not be owned by you. And if they do meet another competitor, oftentimes they'll rebrand that information and you help them get to that point. Anything that you do at IAMS is yours. It's your material. We don't hold the digital rights to it or the design rights to it. That is yours. Our only point on this program is to help increase your production. As a matter of fact, we don't look at it as a profit center. Although we do have some programs that there may be an investment on your side to get in front of mailings and things of that nature. We don't, this is not a profit center for us. Based on your production, we'd like to help you grow more. You can utilize the Creative Solutions team. In addition to that, they only focus on our business. So the lines of business that you do with IAMS, that is their bailiwick, that is their expertise. And so that keeps them sharp and on point. So if you do have a question about your marketing plan, or you'd like a marketing plan, or have a question about something in your practice as it relates to agency solutions, digital solutions, or getting in front of people to see, let us know. We can be of help there with the IAMS creative team. Via our website, if we're not available, some of us like myself work after hours, and Kim probably too quite a bit here. We'll hear from Kim in a moment. On the weekends as well, you can access IAMS. And our intent on our website is to make it usable. It's not an advertising website. We do have a recruiting site that we use to attract individuals, of course. But this site is for our producing agents. It's an agent portal. On our site, you can do everything from pulling off applications or in-service forms. A moment ago, I just pulled off a 1035 exchange form, and then also a beneficiary change form for one of the carriers right from our website. Those forms are available to download from every carrier on our site. In addition to that, you have the e-application platforms, Firelight, iGo. You can quote term insurance and guaranteed universal life insurance right from our website. Gather and attain knowledge of single premium life carriers as far as the minimums and maximums and the average commission and what ages and how they qualify. All this information is available. We also have our marketing corner section, which if you haven't checked that out, highly recommend the section in there that goes through our sales links and access. The sales platform will allow you to simply search for a topic, everything from advanced tax topics to estate planning, unrealized appreciation, buy-sell agreements, and customize these documents, these informational documents that you can utilize with a client with your customized logo and information right on them from our website, so that you can it can help you become the diamond, the velvet behind the, or the diamond in front of the velvet, if you will, to go through those topics with the client. I urge you to check that out. Everything from fact finders all the way through information on advanced tax topics right from our site. If you have any questions about getting into our website, let us know, but definitely urge you to check that out. Reach out to your primary contact if you have any questions on accessing our resources through the site. You can also contract with us directly through there as well. We use a digital contracting and licensing system. For those of us in the room that may have been, that are currently registered investment advisors or investment advisor representatives, or have our Series 65, or for those of us that are considering it, that are wanting to have a better, a stronger relationship, more wallet share with a client, increase our revenue and create a monthly and ongoing revenue stream for our practice, and a valuable business resource in the future, and quite frankly, to move and utilize transfers a lot quicker when working with a client and being able to see what their overall picture looks like. If you're looking at either considering becoming a 65 or if you already are one, IAMS Wealth Management may be an option that you'll want to consider. Lower fees, excellent service, partnered with, obviously, through IAMS, very friendly to the annuity and fixed insurance side of the business. Can put together and integrate client plans with your annuities to show how that annuity would work within their overall portfolio. Great access. And if you're looking at testing or getting that, we will also help you everything from getting your materials, opening your U10, getting you appointed, and transitioning your accounts. In addition to that, a side note, maybe you're not considering just yet getting your 65, but you do have a client with that it would be beneficial if you had a partner on your side to help them with their asset management or their equity side of the business, while you help them with their insurance side. If that is the case, we can also partner and work on cases to where IAMS Wealth Management can work with those clients, maintain that relationship as you work on the insurance so that you can be assured there's not a competitor in the loop, maybe help reduce the client's fees, et cetera. If you have a question on any of those programs, just let us know, and there'll be a survey question here in a little bit we'll go through to where you'll have a chance to raise your hand and ask if you'd like more information on IAMS Wealth Management. As far as training and information, we have brought back our 2-day producer face-to-face trainings this year, and we're hosting, we've got a series of dates coming up. Right now, we're in the middle of one of the events that's hosted and partnered by Athene that is out in Des Moines. We are having our academy in June, the 7th, 8th, and 9th, coming up here at our home office in Nebraska and Elkhorn. This is all expenses paid, opportunity to sit next to other producers, rub elbows, share strategies, hear from from 4 of our top advisors here on sales ideas and strategies, not to mention those that will be attending in the room. Have an opportunity to go through an indexed annuities, unraveled, take a look at what are the up and coming threats and trends in our industry, what's new, what's to come, as well as go through with those top advisors, walk through their turnkey seminar systems, how they're getting in front of people, how they're holding their appointments, large case design when it comes to life insurance and estate planning and tax-free offset, business insurance concepts, et cetera. These are great events to attend. If you have not already put in your application to apply for being a candidate for these events, please do so on our website today, or reach out to your relationship here at IAMS or myself, and we'll get you registered for the upcoming event. And hope to see you there. Speaking of trips, we do have our annual producer trip here each year that we do for those that a top producer incentive trip here, those writing business with IAMS. A couple of the key differences. We don't do a 12-month qualification period. We do an 18-month qualification period. So you have 18 months to qualify for the trip. Typically $4.5 million in annuity premium or a mixture of target premium, life insurance and annuities. We'll get you in that qualification over the 18 months. Currently, the qualification period started last June or July rather, and goes through the end of this year, December 31st. And we're going to be going to the Seaside Sanctuary in Kiawah Island in South Carolina. And for those, we have an additional bogey here. The top 20 get a trip extension to the Charleston Place, historic downtown Charleston. Should be a great event, whether you play golf or just enjoy some of the most beautiful scenery you'll ever see, and rubbing elbows again with other top producers while relaxing and cheering to having a great year. This would be a great event to shoot for. Let us know if you have any questions. So as I mentioned before, $68 trillion, that is a lot of money. That is according to CNBC. Kim here may have some updated numbers, but the reason we're all here today is in reference to non-qualified stretch is we've got the baby boomers who are set to transfer wealth to their children, more than $68 trillion, biggest wealth transfer ever. What are some opportunities? How do we get into the beneficiary relationship? How do we make sure that we're working with the entire family? What are some of the key things that come up, one of which is non-qualified stretch? Could not be partnering with a better organization to talk about this. Integrity Life, which is a Western and Southern life company, and Kim, our contact here at IAMS, They are professionals and, quite frankly, your home for non-qualified stretch accounts. And we're going to be going through that today, sharing some of the tools and ideas that Kim and Integrity have. I know I've worked with them over the years here in my 23-year career from the beginning, and Integrity Life has always kept it real, so to say, with great tools, excellent advanced back office support, and advanced case design. And it's no wonder why they are one of the few companies that will do a non-qualified stretch and, quite frankly, do a non-qualified stretch correctly. So without further ado, Kim, I'm going to switch the screen over to you. Can you hear us?
I am right here.
Perfect. Okay. Let's see here. I'm going to switch this over to you. And when we do that, we should be able to.
It's allowing me to choose my screen, which is awesome.
Oh, perfect, perfect. Those of you that are just joining, as you may have seen, I am not your expert in technology. So, Kim, thank you for that. I'm glad that it worked out. So we can see your screen. That's great. So
perfect.
Well, thanks
for the introduction. I appreciate it. And as Justin said, there is a huge opportunity for non-qualified stretch, and we'll get into a little bit more. But if all of you, I'm sure are aware of what the Secure Act did to IRA money and leaving that to non-spousal beneficiaries. Made it super difficult, right? There's so many hoops and jumps, and if they look like this, then this is available. If they look like this, then that might be available, but maybe they have this option. Well, you don't have to worry about that with non-qualified money or non-qualified contracts that are left to non-spousal beneficiaries. Those rules and those changes and those hoops do not apply to non-qualified contracts or the money left to beneficiaries. So I wanted to just quickly go through and kind of just talk about, what options there are available at death. Most producers, agents, advisors are aware that there's a lump sum. I'm sure everyone is aware that there's a 5-year deferral, but there are 2 other ones that are available. One may be fairly new to some of you. And what I want to do in this piece here is just go through these options. So there are 4 total options actually at death. And the lump sum, like I mentioned, most common. Okay, so just think about a child. Okay, we have Mrs. Smith, who has just recently passed and has left for her non-qualified contract to her son. That son, his eyes might light up and say, wow, mom left me $600,000. I want my hands on that. Well, is that the best option for the son? It might not be, right? Immediate access to the cash means immediate taxation. So all of the gains, that son is going to be responsible to pay taxes on all of those gains in that same tax year. 5-year deferral is another one. So that's basically just deferring a lump sum. It will allow you to spread over any type of taxation over the 5-year period, but if you're not taking it along the way, you're going to be could be stuck with a pretty hefty tax bill at the end of those 5 years. And does it make sense to do a deferral? Maybe not, or a lump sum. If the lump sum and the 5-year deferral, there's minimal gains in the contract, absolutely. Let them get their hands on that money if that's what they want. But the idea here is if you have a large taxable gain in these non-qualified contracts, that's just something that you need to consider. So a third option to consider would be annuitization. Annuitization is great if that beneficiary wants that regular and guaranteed income stream for as long as they live. That does apply an exclusion ratio. So even the distributions that are taken that year are part gains and part basis. So it does provide some tax efficiency. But what's the downside to that is that they lose access to it in most cases. They lose flexibility, like they lose control. So may or may not be the best fit for everyone. Now, the fourth option that you may not be aware of is a non-qualified stretch. Well, what is a non-qualified stretch? We'll go into that first. So same scenario, Mrs. Smith has a non-qualified annuity sitting over at carrier ABC. She has left this contract to her son, okay, a non-spousal beneficiary. That could be, it has to be a living person, okay? So let me just say that up front, a living person, not a trust. That non-spousal beneficiary can be a friend, a significant other, a partner, a neighbor, kids, aunts, uncles, you name it, anyone other than a spouse. So it's left to this beneficiary. And that just means the non-qualified stretch just means that can be picked up. You can take that dead person's contract and move it over to another carrier. Okay, so that's what a non-qualified stretch is. And I'll go into kind of a little bit more as to kind of more the specifics on that. Let me jump back over to like the pros and cons of a stretch. So the stretch is going to provide the most flexibility. Okay, it is going to stretch out taxes over that client's lifetime. Okay, that beneficiary, and when I say client now, that's the beneficiary that's inheriting that money. So that beneficiary can take more if they need it, so they're retaining control, and that may be important. But the downside to that is they may not get the exclusion ratio. Okay, so part gains and part basis on those distributions that have to be taken over lifetime. So much like an RMD, when somebody stretches, they have to take that mandatory distribution. That IRS wants their money, right? So they're going to make sure that that those rules are followed. So Integrity Life will set up those mandatory distributions for that client. And I'm sure every other carrier that allows a stretch will do the same. My point here, when I say those that will allow a stretch, is there are few and far between that actually will allow a stretch or will recognize a stretch. So there might be that non-qualified annuity over at carrier ABC. Mrs. Smith dies, and let's just say that son, you've talked to that son, and the stretch would be the best way to go, right? That's going to be the best tax efficient option available, considering their situation. But carrier ABC doesn't allow the son to stretch. They're going to probably try to retain it. They're either going to offer a lump sum, annuitization, or the 5-year deferral. So my point with that is very few carriers, and I can probably count on one hand how many carriers will allow a stretch, and fewer that actually apply an exclusion ratio to those mandatory distributions. So Integrity Life will apply the part gains and part basis to those annual distributions. All right, so I am going to.
That is thank you, Kim. That, I don't mean to interrupt, but that is a huge benefit. Just in the years I've run into this, one, it's a point that's not often brought up by the carrier that may not do that. It's typically just, you think it's a non-qualified stretch. But that point, I just want to add your emphasis on that is hugely beneficial, and something that if you're currently using a company for non-qualified stretch, I definitely ask them their approach on that, because many of them, if not, I think you guys are the only ones that will do that. That is a good feature.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And some of the other benefits of a stretch is, that non-spousal beneficiary, the kids can actually pick it up and move it and put that annuity in their own name. There's that inherited language, but they are now going to be the owner of that contract. They can, at the end of the surrender period, they can choose to do whatever they want with it. They could move it to another carrier that might allow a stretch. They can surrender it. They could just leave it there. They could also annuitize it and turn that into a guaranteed levelized type of income stream, depending on, where they are in their life and kind of what's happening. All right, so we already talked about distributions have to be taken over their life or a period that is no longer than their life expectancy. Key point is they must be taken annually. Now, a couple of the things that you have to keep in mind with this is that the first distribution has to begin within 1 year of the owner's death. So some urgency, but not necessarily urgent, but you can't wait until D-Day, to decide, oh my gosh, I'm going to do a stretch. That's something that, you probably need to put into place. I would say at least 2 to 3 months, or sooner would be better, before we hit that deadline of 1 year following death of the original owner. All right, a couple other things I kind of mentioned is that the beneficiary has to be a natural person, so it cannot be a trust. And that's going to be important when we talk about, when I get into another idea later. The beneficiary cannot take receipt of these funds either. So death claim happens, kids decide, I'm going to go ahead and just pull that money out, take receipt of that money, and I'll figure out what to do later. Well, it's not like a rollover. If they take receipt of those funds, they can no longer do this stretch of a 1035 exchange. So they are going to be stuck with that tax bill. All right, so what I want to do now is really go into applying that exclusion ratio so that you understand it. Okay, so this is just a sample illustration page that I wanted to share with you in one of the products that will allow the stretch to the beneficiary. This scenario is actually $600,000 of account value. So this is what Mrs. Smith's son, the son has actually inherited, but it has a $300,000 cost basis. So in the scenarios that we talked about, lump sum, okay, does the son want to pay taxes on $300,000? Does the son want to take or pay taxes on a withdrawal of $23,391 here in this example? And this number that's highlighted and circled here on the left-hand side represents a stretch with another carrier that will allow it. So this is the calculation, okay, based on, I believe this was like a 55-year-old that inherited this. Okay, so that's what their 1099 is going to look like, or taxation on that $23,391. They're going to pay LIFO, okay? That's the amount that they're going to see on that 1099 if they go with another carrier. However, the little circled and highlighted area over towards the right, this is what the taxable amount is going to look like with Integrity Life, because we apply that part gains and part basis calculation. So when you are sitting down and have the opportunity to work with a beneficiary, and you have the opportunity to discuss these options with that Benny, you want to ask them, okay, do you want your 1099 to show taxation on $300,000, show taxation on a $23,391 with another carrier, or do you want to see the taxes look like $12,321 with Integrity Life? So that's going to be super important when you're having conversations with clients and those beneficiaries. All right, so why do I bring all of this up? Okay, Justin already mentioned that stat, and he is spot on. We double checked these numbers. These are still the same. There is up to 68 trillion with a T, trillion dollars that we will be transferred to other generations by 2044. Why is that? Well, think about the boomers. Look how big of a generation that was. This is boomer money right here, $68 trillion that is going to be left to either spouses, then that spouse is going to leave it to their children. But look at these other stats, okay? That stat was right here in the middle of this flyer. To the left, if that is left to a spouse, 80% of widows will leave the advisor after their spouse's death. Think about that. Why would they do that? 80% will leave you if you have not established a relationship with that spouse. So think about you working with clients all of these years. You've been accumulating wealth only for them to still live and maintain that lifestyle as they retire. But what happens? Unfortunately, when most people retire, they pass away. All that time you've worked with that one client to do all of this for him and his family, but you've never met the wife, or maybe you've met the wife, maybe you've met the husband, but you've never really established that relationship. So think about that. 80% will leave, okay? Of the 20% that stay with you, 20% of the children will leave after both mom and dad are gone. Okay, so your assets, your book of business, whatever you want to call it, it's going to be bleeding if you're not establishing these relationships. So with this, we've started out with, hey, this is what you can do and how you can work with beneficiaries when you've come across a death, or someone calls you and says, hey, you know, Mr. Ford, I found this document. It looks like a contract. It looks like I'm the beneficiary. It was my mom's. What is this? What do I do with it? Okay. They call you. Okay. What are you going to do? You're going to try to get them come into your office, of course. You're going to try to talk to them about, hey, these are your options. Find out about their financial status, where they might be in life. Are they, in a really nice career? Are they set to even, advance more, earn more money? What kind of tax bracket are they in? So you're going to try to explore all that if you can get them into the office, right? So then, you're going to try to present all of these options that are available at death. Well, of course, you would want to try to retain them as a client, and that allows you to retain those assets. And then hopefully then at that point, you might be able to also get more of their assets. But if you have not established that relationship and that rapport prior to you getting that call that, hey, mom has died, what do I do? What do you think those chances of you keeping them as a client and retaining those assets are? They're pretty poor, or pretty unfavorable. So what I want to tell you about is a strategy that you can implement now into your business that will actually help you retain assets, build the rapport. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Build the rapport, establish relationships. Okay, so this is a strategy you're going to implement today. And I'm going to kind of give you the highlight, and then I'm going to tell you exactly what to do. All right. So Mr. and Mrs. Smith, let's back up. Let's talk about what we are going to do in order to do that. Sorry about that. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. I'm getting excited.
It's a reason for excitement. I'm excited already.
It is. I get
I've
so
already
excited.
done the math, Kim. The 20% of benefit, if you had a $10 million estate and the wife was out of the picture, or transfer to the kids, that 20%, if you were earning a brokerage fee of 1.5, would be $30,000 in lost income. So you got my attention. Go ahead.
Awesome. All right. So what you're going to do, this is your call to action. All right. So you're going to go back and you're going to look at your non-qualified contracts. There's actually 2 steps to this. So first step, you're going to look at your non-qualified contracts. You're going to look for those that are out of surrender or coming out of surrender, but also have a large gain. So low basis, high account value, something that's going to represent some large gains. All right. Then I want you to give them a call. And this, by the way, does not mean those annuities that you have just set aside because they have a high minimum. That doesn't mean you ignore them. I want you to look at them too. All right, so you're going to call these beneficiaries, or I'm sorry, you're going to call the clients. You're going to bring them in for a review. Okay, you're going to, of course, say, hey, you've had this money earmarked as rainy day money. I'm going to use it just in case, or have it set aside just in case, but ultimately, I'm going to leave it to my kids. Is that still your plan? Why, yes, it is, Mr. Ford. Perfect. Let's talk about the kids' situation. How important is it for you to provide the most tax efficient options upon your death to them? Do you want them to be taxed, or do you want to save them some taxes? Well, of course I do. All right, we're going to pick up the phone and we're going to call carrier ABC and we're going to ask them what options are available to your kids when you die. Okay, so they're going to tell you. It's a, if they have the lump sum and they have the deferral or the annuitization, and they do not say anything about a stretch or a true tax deferral of a 1035 exchange, ask them if that's available. They tell you no, now you know your answer. Okay, so if that's important to your client, now you're going to know, okay, if you leave this money here and keep this contract with carrier ABC, you could possibly burden the kids. So let's think about moving that to a carrier that will accept a stretch and will provide the most tax efficiency available to them. That, of course, would be Integrity Life. Now, don't forget about the clients that, with the high minimums, and I'll tell you why that's okay to consider them, to revisit that with them, okay? High minimums is great. All of our guaranteed minimum interest rates are at 275 right now. So that, plus working with an A+ carrier, plus all of the options available to older clients. We have options through age 89. We have immediate access beginning the first year. We also offer waivers of surrender for confinement as well as terminal illness. Plus, you're adding the benefit of, hey, Integrity Life will provide the most tax efficient option to my children. That's what makes this a suitable sale. Now, this is not something that you should not talk about with your current clients. So let's just say you have a new client. This is something you should implement with conversations with new clients today as well, about the tax efficiency and passing that, passing that tax burden off to their beneficiaries. You should start implementing that today. All right, and then with a recap is why you would stretch with Integrity Life, okay? And I've talked about all of these. Number one, the exclusion ratio, that's going to equate to lower taxes, okay? A lower 1099 for those clients. The move now or later, okay? You can wait for these opportunities and a beneficiary to possibly call you and hope that they're going to work with you once mom or dad dies, but the opportunity is now, okay? So move it now. You're going to get paid now. The stretch later is going to give you full comp again when you work with that beneficiary, okay? So that now and later strategy, move it now or later, get paid now and get paid later. Okay, and we talked about the suitable sales strategy, okay, why it would be considered suitable. And then this is going to help you lock in legacy business, working with the next generation. So to kind of finalize your call of action is, okay, Mrs. Smith, I think that's what I called her earlier. Mrs. Smith says, yes, I want to provide this tax efficient option to my kids. Let's go to Integrity Life. Great. Once that contract is issued, okay, it's delivered to you, Mr. and Mrs. Producer, or Mr. Ford in my example. It's delivered to you. You're going to call that client and say, hey, your contract's in. Let's go through it. I want you to bring your kids or whoever that named beneficiary is. I want you to bring them with you, because I want to review this not only with you to remind you of, hey, this is why we moved it. I want to tell the kids exactly what we're doing for them as well. Okay, so I want them to hear the benefits of this now and later type of strategy. And then right there, you're starting to make the bridging, okay? You're bridging that gap. You're starting to establish that relationship and that rapport. So what's that going to do? That's going to increase your chances of working with that beneficiary later once mom or dad dies. And hopefully maybe, you're going to keep establishing that relationship with them or growing that relationship. Now, a couple of points that I want to kind of finalize with is we can illustrate the non-qualified stretch. and exclusion ratio in 2 of our products. 2 of them are indexed, which is the Journey Mark product as well as Indextra. We have a third product that is available that offers a return of premium. It is more of a traditional type of fix, so it's a 7-year surrender charge period, but it does offer a return of premium. We can apply the stretch, we can apply the exclusion ratio in that product. I just can't illustrate it in that product, but it is available. So that is our later options. The options for now, working with the client now, again, we have options up through, I said 89, but with Journey Mark, we actually have options up through age 90. And it's our full entire suite of annuity products. So think of short-term MIGAs, flexible premium products. We have the traditional fix that I talked about. And then, of course, outside of those types of products that work well in the stretch and indexed, we also have SPIAs and DIAs. If you're not familiar with Integrity Life, we're pretty competitive in that space. So with that, I'm going to close with just some strength on Integrity Life and Western and Southern. If you're not familiar with us, of course, Western and Southern is our parent company. We are in Cincinnati, Ohio. We are a U.S. owned and operated company, mutually held. We're here located in Cincinnati, Ohio. And our strength, of course, our rating, our Comdex rating is 96 out of 100. This flyer actually shows that our capital risk asset ratio is more than double of our peers. We're actually triple of that of our peers. So that was something I just learned yesterday. It's a new statistic. We haven't been able to update that flyer. So with that, I think I have given you all the reasons to take the strategy, something you can use today that is not going to get into the way of any of the other business that you're doing. It is completely additive, and it's going to bring you new sales and today, as well as new sales later. And you're going to be able to build and grow your business for the future.
Kim, thank you so much. You know, as I'm going through this too, you brought up some points that caught my attention. Not too long ago, I had an advisor share with me, and I began to think about it as well. We all offer a non-tangible product when it comes to insurance, whether it's life insurance or the annuity. Until that first check comes to them or the claims process comes up, that's when the rubber meets the road. And at some point, you begin to look at what hands am I leaving my beneficiaries, my next generation in, because you don't really know how it's going to work out unless you've done that research up front. And this can be one of those opportunities as you're meeting with the beneficiaries, as the client fills out, and we have what's called a valuable documents locator. You may have something similar in your practice where you have the client, for the purpose of the beneficiaries and others like the spouse, create a list of what to do next when there is a death. Having your name on those non-qualified accounts, having that plan ahead of time with integrity is a lot better position to be in than to find out otherwise. If I'm not mistaken, make sure I'm not overstepping here, but just like you handle the claims I've worked with before, you guys know the detail, you have the paperwork, you know the process. That can be a well appreciated call when there is a situation that pops up, to be able to work with a company that actually understands what you just went through, which is we're here to reduce taxation, to make sure that those accounts get appropriately moved, in addition to the commission to the agent. But having that, I think, is important because that's when things become tangible. They become real when we start to use these products, don't they?
Definitely.
So I love that concept. Absolutely.
Yeah, and another point is, let's just say you do pick it up and move it to integrity while that client is still living, and then mom or dad passes away. You have that case in house. So if that beneficiary does do the stretch, it's very streamlined. We understand what needs to be done. It's all in house. And the one thing that I wrote a note early when you talked about Firelight, you can do this in Firelight.
Excellent. So it makes it simple, get the process done. Definitely not lacking in quality products here, which those of you, we'll do a survey here in a second, but we'll make sure those have interest, get you a list of the products, and we can speak with you about Integrity's products on the FIA side and the fixed. Great solution. If you're planning on, those of us in the room that are planning on transitioning our practice to, another thought I had, whether that be to a family member like a daughter or son, or a partner, or doing a valuation on your book of business, having these type of things in order in your house when it comes to the plan for non-qualified assets, particularly in annuities with that high interest, low basis, can be important too. Less headache for the new recipient, and then also beyond the death of your aging book of business, if you already have that connection, like Kim was saying, into in-house, already working with those beneficiaries, you've got a leg up there too. This is great. Really appreciate the time you spent with us here, Kim. I'm going to switch over, and we've talked about this before. If we have anyone in the room that has an agency would like this type of training, Kim in Integrity Life, very open to doing one-on-one. If you want to speak to that, Kim, if we have a case or a situation, they can definitely reach out to me or you and work with you directly on doing like a one-on-one presentation to kind of go through a specificity, right?
Absolutely.
Specific
Yeah.
case.
So if today, you are uncovering opportunities, I would definitely reach out to you, Justin, and your team. We can get one-on-one, get on the phone one-on-one, talk about all of the details, just in a case study. Yeah, I'm more than willing to do that.
That's perfect. I appreciate your help as always. So I'm going to go through with some polling questions. Those of you that have done this before, your question is going to pop up on the screen. I'll give you a little bit of time to answer it. This helps us better guide what materials we get out your way and how my staff and team follow up with you and get you the material you need and do exactly what Kim had just mentioned. So I'm going to launch this one here. And first off in bat, distributing this poll here now. If you have an interest in licensing with Integrity to get access to the material, the case studies, the kits, go ahead and indicate that, and we'll make sure Assurance Bay gets you a link for approval over, and we can get you those materials and get you into the portal and access, and we'll get you all taken care of. Getting that going. I would mention too, not that it was part of this conversation, but those of us that are using immediate annuities as well, Integrity has one of the highest paying commission and best payout rates on many of your immediate annuity cases as well. So a good solution for SPIAs, those of us that like those and utilize them like I do. So good option there. Appreciate your response. We're going to go ahead and close this one up and go into the next one here. And the next one would be, would you like to, they went ahead and put this in here, which is great. If you haven't made it to our website, if you have interest in applying for our upcoming academies, whether that be the June or the other events I mentioned before, let us know and we'll make sure to get you that registration link out and get you in so you can at least be on the list. And for that paid trip where we fly you out, host you here with the other advisors to go through practice involvement and sales strategies, annuity and life insurance, advanced cases, etc. And get that indicated, and we will make sure that we get you on that list. And upcoming dates, if the date in June I mentioned does not fit, 6th, 7th, 8th, we'll get you a list of all the upcoming events here, which are also available on our website as we have those too. So thank you for taking time to answer that. And our final one here today would, and this one just goes back to what Kim and I were saying here, does this concept that we're going through with the non-qualified stretch or getting in front of the beneficiaries, are you thinking, do you have anybody that would be a fit for now that you'd like a sample case for? This could also be, hey, you're recognizing this is a phenomenal strategy. Help me implement this thing, please. Anything along those lines, whether it's an illustration or the material for a conversation with our staff to go through that with you, just indicate. And as we collect those responses, we'll definitely be reaching back out to you, and you'll get an email here later on today or and a call probably first thing tomorrow here if you don't reach out to us already. Appreciate everybody's time in this event here. This event will be available for future view. It'll be in the email we send you, but it will also be on our YouTube page, which I'll send out and include with everybody, and Kim's contact too as well if you have any questions. So Kim, thank you as always for your time. Appreciate the resources, and we look forward to partnering with you even further with this expertise. And those of you attending, agents and advisors, appreciate your time as well. Have a great close to the week, And we'll be talking to you soon. Thanks, Kim.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Take care.